Bob Craig lived by a motto of dare to fail, a challenge to reach toward greatness despite any promise of success. He was a fearless individual who continues to serve as an inspiration to those who were fortunate enough to know him. Bob served as president of the American Alpine Club and was selected for the first American attempt on K2 in 1953 as a 26-year-old by team leaders Charles Houston and Robert Bates.
You know, Bob was so far ahead of his time. I mean, in 1953, Bob was at 25,000 feet on K2 in wool pants and a coil of gold line over his shoulder. I mean, Bob wasn't following the rules back then. He was writing the rules for how these expeditions happened.
He would later join several other Himalayan expeditions as team member or leader. His book, Storm and Sorrow, is a detailed account of a harrowing expedition in the Pamir Mountains of Central Asia, in which Craig lost several team members and nearly faced death himself. He was elected to the American Mountaineering Hall of Fame in 2009. Skiing would also become an important part of Bob's life, growing up skiing and racing in the Northwest and teaching at Stevens Pass and Sugarbush. He would maintain his interest in ski technology, ski instruction, ski area development, ski racing, and anything to do with skiing throughout his life, certifying instructors with Max Durkheim and others at Arapahoe Basin.
He claims that he had certification ticket number 8. He allegedly was certified in 1947 or 48. So technically, he really knew what he was doing, and he was very willing to share his knowledge and skills with anybody who was interested.
Coming down the hill, frankly, it was a thing of beauty. He really matched his turns with the mountain.
And Bob liked to ski fast. He described his technique as faintly detectable turns.
Craig served in the U.S. Navy during World War II as an officer on an attack cargo ship and was on the first Navy ship to arrive in Nagasaki following the detonation of the atomic bomb. During the Korean War, he trained troops at the Army's Mountain and Cold Weather Training Command at Camp Carson before moving to Aspen, where he was appointed the first executive director of the Aspen Institute, while also co-founding the Aspen Center for Physics. The center annually hosts over 1,000 physicists, allowing them to meet together or work independently on research. Following a 12-year tenure with the Aspen Institute, Bob purchased a cattle ranch in Woody Creek, just outside of Aspen, prior to devoting the next 10 years of his life to the industrial design business. It was then that he was approached by his good friend Bob Maynard, who was president of Keystone Resort at the time.
It was Aspen's loss and Summit County's gain that we could set up a real intellectual center here in the Central Rockies. And Bob wouldn't leave the mountains, so he wasn't going to go anywhere that didn't have the mountain environment.
Maynard asked Craig if he had another Aspen in him. Craig replied that it would not be a good idea to copy Aspen, but that he would be interested in trying out a new idea. That idea would become the Keystone Policy Center, a collaborative problem-solving organization that initially focused on environmental regulatory issues.
Bob Maynard recognized in Bob a kindred spirit. You know, both were men of vision that saw an opportunity in the mountains to establish a place unlike anywhere else.
From the outset, the center's goal was to address complex environmental and public policy issues affecting industry and government by applying the discipline of science and bringing all relevant stakeholders to the table. It was also in Keystone that he met his wife and partner of more than 30 years. Craig's consensus-building approach was highly unorthodox among policy leaders, whose approach to solving contentious issues was most often litigation. Under Bob's leadership, the Keystone Center built its reputation by tackling a number of groundbreaking policy issues, including nuclear waste, biotechnology, AIDS research, and a myriad of natural resource concerns. The center became known for both confronting tough issues and for bringing leaders with disparate positions to the mountains, a neutral space to share perspectives and move toward collaborative solutions.
Bob brought out the best in people, and Bob thought that everybody had something to say. There was value in everybody, and he really focused on that in his work at the Aspen Institute and at the Keystone Center. And he really helped people solve problems and work together.
I think he could see the future. He could see what Aspen was going to be. He saw the possibilities of bringing an intellectual community like Aspen Institute or creating the Keystone Center.
Craig was also instrumental in finding a home for the Keystone Science School and the Keystone Symposia for Molecular Biology as divisions of the center. Prior to his retirement from the Keystone Center in 1997, Craig was invited to join the board of the Summit Foundation. In addition, he also served on the boards of the American Alpine Club, the Summit County Open Space Council, the Colorado Center for Altitude Medicine and Physiology, and the Vail Valley Institute.
He was one of the prime movers, and being recognized by the Colorado Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame is proper and well justified.
Craig passed away on January 16, 2015 in Denver. He was 90 years old. Supreme Court Justice Byron White once remarked that Bob Craig was a true Renaissance man, possessing the brains, the strong interest in science-related policy, the creativity to build new and innovative organizations, and the physical endurance that set him apart from most others he had ever met. We are indeed honored to welcome Bob Craig to the Colorado Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame tonight as a pioneer member of the class of 2016.